Aaron Oliver, emerging payments lead, Middle East Africa at MasterCard, known for his deep knowledge and experience in mobile banking and developing consumer habits, will be moderating this next panel. Please help me welcome him and his panelists.
Thanks. I'd like to welcome up our panelists to the stage. We've got two guys that are really driving mobile banking in Saudi Arabia. We've got Ardi Chapke. I'm going to murder his name. I apologize for that. He's from Turkey, actually, and he's really driving the acceptance there and some really advanced stuff. We've got Omar Yassin, who's the SVP of Retail Digital Banking Head for Al Ali in NCB, and we've got Turkey Aldafan, VP Head of Digital Channels and Value-Added Services from Riyadh Bank. We made ourselves familiar as we were talking about, mobile banking and the mobile in general. Everyone's sitting in this room, and they've got their mobile phone in their hands, and that's something that's changed over the last 10 years. From the power that you had in your hand. Before it was internet banking, before it was branch banking. But one of the things that we really talked about was the fact that mobile banking is no longer an innovation. This is Banking Innovation Day, and mobile banking is not an innovation. Mobile banking is a must-have. So I guess what I'd first like to do is talk about, from your perspective, the bankers in the room. Where does mobile banking sit in your customer's mindset, just as it is today? From this many people use it, this is where you started. How did you start with mobile banking? What's it look like in Saudi? We'll start here on Turkey.
Actually, before 3 years, we feel the mobile is the mobile first. But the games have changed. We feel now the only mobile. Because the customers, they have the mobile in their hands, they're doing everything through the mobile, starting with the social media, banking, and everything. This is why we add all the services. We try to make it a portable branch in the hand. This is doing like a transaction, transfer, and everything. This is why I add the focus in the mobile to have everything. But we feel the upcoming 3 years or 5 years, the mobile is the only channel to have it for the customers. This is why I feel as a Riyadh bank.
Okay.
There is a clinical word for it, which is called nomophobia. Nomophobia is people being so over-addictive to their mobile phones. And this is something definitely that banks are leveraging. I know it's killing our social life, but for us it's perfect. So now a lot of expectations are happening on the mobile banking area, whereas the client is expecting to have everything, as said, on his mobile. So no longer like doing a transaction, looking into your balances. This is 20 years old now. So the clients are looking into self-servicing. I don't want to go to a bank and enroll into products and services. I'm looking into avoiding the branch, avoiding traffic, avoiding finding a parking, and really have everything from opening an account up to getting finances. So this is exactly what everyone is expecting from your mobile platform. It's quite interesting. It's quite difficult to put everything into a 4.6-inch screen, but this is our challenge moving forward.
Okay, and Arda, one of the things, these two gentlemen come from the issuer side, the banking customer side, and you really look at it much more from the merchant and the payment side. And I'm not sure how well known this is in this audience, but in Turkey, mobile payments are the standard. If you can't pay with your mobile, then no one's going to bank with you. Whereas I would say that if you can't pay with your mobile in this region and a number of places, that's still kind of okay. So what's it like in Turkey from a standard? What's the expectation of the customer today for being able to transact, and what are merchants saying?
What I can say for that is, like, in Turkey, we are a bit more mature market than the other markets in the region. Just because we have just started to make mobile banking products online in 90s with those small and slow internet lines. So far we have been reached a penetration rate of more than 50%. and more than 50%, like almost 60% of our users and consumers, customers are using mobile banking, both internet branch and mobile branch, and they ask for everything. What they can do is that they can play bets from our mobile bank. They can pay their even certain penalties. They can pay any of their taxes. Even they can pay their utility payments to their residences, to their houses. Even when they're paying to their gardener or other staff for their houses, they pay from there. What they want is to pay and to be able to pay without going to physical branch or without going to anywhere else. And what we call is that we are just providing some solution to our customers independent of time and place. While they are just sleeping or while they are just staying at their home, they can pay. We have a couple of products that we let our merchants to make some collection from our customers buy those devices and buy those applications.
So does that include face-to-face payments?
It somehow includes, somehow just because of regulation in Turkey, bank regulation is so tough in Turkey because of the crisis so far that we have overpressed. And the banks cannot do anything that they want, but the fintechs can now do anything they want. Just because of that huge gap between fintechs and banks now, they're not as strong as banks, but they can do anything because it's enough for them to imagine. But as a banker, I can imagine, but the other day I have to go to the legal team, I have to go to the compliance team, I have to go to the risk team, I have to go to the fraud team, and it takes like 6 months for me to finalize a project for a bank. Although we are the fastest bank in Turkey, the most innovative bank in Turkey, that regulation is tough in Turkey.
We'll get to some of those challenges in a second. One of the things I'd like to kind of, take from that is you said 50 to 60% of the customers are on mobile banking. So, Turkey, Omar, how is that? I mean, you have to have mobile banking in Saudi.
Absolutely.
What's the percentages of consumers that are using mobile banking right now?
On average, the users of mobile banking across the population of the banking sector is around 40%. So this is the high end of any bank in Saudi. So 40% of their clients are using digital channels. That's comparing the big banks like my bank and.
Does that include internet when you say digital?
No. I'm talking internet in terms of mobile banking on its own, because that's even mobile banking have surpassed on the web banking around last year, because everyone's used to have the mobile next to them and stuff. So that's why. But again, going back to having a lot of options and a lot of functionality within the mobile app, there is no limit to technology. Technology can have everything you want. Leaving the regulatory piece aside, it's important to see what the client's needs are. Because at the end of the day, client's needs are 1, 2, 3, so we can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the client sees so many options and then throws this mobile thing away. So it's very important to be more of a shifting from being product-centric to client-centric. So client centricity is the start of any innovation we try doing in terms of touching on the client's needs and so forth.
At Riyadh Bank, are you seeing the same type of consumer usage? And I'll ask you to kind of take it from, so 40% of the people have downloaded your app and have maybe checked their balance. Let's talk about active. So is it really 40% of the people are active? And then from a services perspective, how many have gone beyond just informational?
From our side, I think we have almost 35% of them that are using our mobile services. If you remove the ATM part, because actually until now in Saudi Arabia we are using the cash. Still, we are using the cash in some of the merchants. Now we have some upgraded network. We are using now contactless. We start to have that merchant. They have a point of sale. It takes time to transfer the old customers to have the wallets and this thing. It takes time. It's not easy. Especially we start that before 3 months. It would take time to have that all merchants. They have a point of sale and this thing to transfer them to as a digital. But when we focus on mobile, they are heavy users. It means the customer, he tries to log in 3 times or 2 times in every month. Some of them. Starting to do the transactions, inquiries, even to create virtual credit cards. Because we have some product now, we make that some product have digital product. Like creating virtual credit card, apply even the credit card open additional account in one click. This is to simplify the processing. Rather than to visit the branch, they're happy to have these things in mobile, especially in Riyadh. Actually, we have a big problem now. We have big constructions. No one happy to visit the branch. For them, it's easy to use the mobile or at least the internet banking. That is kind of facility.
So once you have them, you really have them. But getting to convert them has been a challenge. So in Turkey, if you're that far ahead, what was the thing that you saw that pushed people from information on their mobile to full on transacting?
Like the customers are getting used to it so fast, and we are opening this new service, and they're just trying. It takes some time to get used to that service on the customer side. And if you just even make small change on that service, like even a dot or even a sentence at the end, they still notice and they just react. They don't want anything to change on the structure. They don't want anything to be offered differently. Or if you are just offering a service and then you decide to suspend the service, you just get a reaction so tough from the customer because they just want to make anything from mobile. And because of our young population, we are like 10 years younger than the European Union population. We are almost like 31 at the average age. And the penetration of mobile devices are so high. In Turkey, it's like 80% now, and it's increasing. Probably in 2 years' time, it will be at most like it will be like 95 to 97. We just see like in that way. And that reaction and that capability and that appetite to make something mobile is so huge. That's why I believe with the help of those fintechs and I believe with the help of regulation, probably things will be more easy and more tough at the same time.
I'm going to ask you a question that I'm pretty sure that these two guys want to ask you desperately. So the fintechs can do anything. The regulator is making it hard for you. You have to talk to compliance. You have to talk to legal. You have to talk to absolutely everyone, including the chairman, to get your project through. So how did you do it? Did you partner with fintechs? Did you do it yourself and just do it really slowly? What was the way that you executed in the market so that you could take advantage of this opportunity? Because the fintechs are coming for these guys. They just haven't quite got there yet in Saudi, but I know some that are coming for them.
Still, we are just in touch with fintechs and we are just cooperating with fintechs. To me, like my personal view is that what fintechs do is they just see a scratch or just see a small hole on the huge system, and they just come with a patch there, and they see that it's technology and we can do it on a better way. On the bank size, on a huge bank size, it's almost impossible to just create that patch on that technology because of the limit of the resources and because of all the products that we have. That's why fintechs just see this small side on, for example, money transfer, and they see that on a way that they can do it better, and they just come to us. And if any point we think that we will be utilizing from them, we just make a cooperation. If any point that we can make it on ourselves, we do it on that level because we have a huge substrate on the technology side. Most of the even the processing side is developed in-house inside the bank, payment side. That's why sometimes we need them and sometimes we
do it yourself.
We do it.
Okay, so if there's any fintechs in the room, perk up and listen. So guys, you're going to be building all these new services. Are you going to partner with fintechs? Are you going to do it yourself? Are you going to own the space? Are you going to kill them? Are you going to? What's the plan?
Plan number one is working with regulators to keep them away. That's working so far.
I love the
That's
honesty.
working so far. But seriously, what we're doing is something a bit different, a bit nicer than that. In my bank, what we're doing is we've opened something called the Innovation Center. Innovation Center is welcoming any fintech, being in Saudi, being outside Saudi, to be a part of that and start putting ideas on the table and stuff. If we like the idea, we finance it and we move it forward. Definitely, as a bank, it's hard, as I said, to go into technologies, new technology, and finding the patch. But that area, that innovation center, has an IT on its own that works semi-agile. Everyone says we're so agile, but I don't think anyone is agile yet. So it works on semi-agile basis. So definitely this opens the door internally for fintechs to be part of us. So that's how we partner with fintechs.
Okay.
From our side, I think we have a partner with our bank to do this fintech, and they do evaluation and do even research for them. Frankly, we do evaluation. Sometimes we do it in-house if it doesn't need that effort. Sometimes no, we need like a different company or at least fintech. But until now, we didn't see something wow, which really is required to have and acquire this kind of fintechs. Currently, we do it in-house, or we have another partners like with different companies actually. But regarding the agile, actually we work in agile. Okay, we started in mobile because frankly, the mobile is booming. Every day we have new APIs, new services, new functions. This is where we start internally. We have our lab, agile lab, and we have even innovation lab, and even customer lab to expedite the process and function and services, frankly, and to test it well. This is why we are expedite the releases. We work fully agile with the iterations. Iterations is not full.
All right, so this is going to be unfair because I'm going to ask Arda a question first, but that means that you two guys are going to get it next. So just be ready. So tell me an example where you couldn't do it, you couldn't move fast enough, and you had to partner to get a service into the market that the customer had to have, and you made the decision to go with a partner versus just do it yourself.
We don't have so much, but probably from payment side, what I can say, I'm just thinking, maybe on the structure, Turkey is a bit different than other markets on the payment side. We have installments for credit cards. Maybe you have been in Turkey and you had the chance to make it. Customers are always paying, are always choosing to pay with their credit card by installment. They don't make one-time payment. If they're buying a refrigerator, for example, they're just paying with 9-time installments because of the resources that they have, I mean the amount of cash they have, they just do it on that way. And we have more than 5 or 6 big loyalty programs in Turkey. And as a bank or as a merchant, you have to apply an agreement or just sign an agreement with all those banks just because to provide installment to all those banks' users, cardholders. On that case, because of the structure of the issuing side and the acquiring side, when you look at, we really need some solutions to get the card information and just keep the card information on a secure way and make the verification by using the system, by a meditating system in between those banks. On that case, like BKMs and our interchange company of banks is somehow like now show itself as a fintech. We are working with them, for example, to just provide some secure or more secure thing of experience to customers while they're paying.
Okay. So you've listened. Now you're ready. Now, give me an example of something where you've partnered with a fintech or something to deliver. It can either be to deliver to a customer or something where you feel like, I know I'm going to have to deliver that to my customer in the next year, and I'm definitely going to partner with that.
That will be on the e-commerce side. A lot of corporate clients now, especially the SMEs, want to have their things online. So not a lot of them have the expertise to do these online websites, the shopping cart, and so forth. Nor does the bank have time to sit with every client and says, this is how you build it, this is how you do it, this is how you integrate with me, and so forth. So what we did was partner with a partner in Saudi Arabia. It's a global company, but they have an office in Saudi, to help our clients in terms of building these websites, integrating with our NCV, so it's an aggregator kind of business. So that's something that is big in our bank today, in terms of, especially that e-commerce is on a very big trend of growth in our markets. That's what we do.
Sure.
We are the same situation actually. We are using the same vendor actually. It's a common Saudi Arabia. We have all these vendors, frankly.
Who did it first?
We are.
Everyone says that.
Yeah. Actually, this is one of the best companies, even in the Middle East, actually. This is why as a Riyadh bank, even NCB, and even the leaders in the bank in Saudi Arabia, they do the contract with them, actually. They are good and they are professional, frankly. But they are doing anything related to the e-commerce, even the fintechs and everything.
All right. So at the moment, we'll come back on this. So today, that's where you're at with your customers and mobile. What do your customers want that you're not giving them today? What's the number one thing that your customer wants out of mobile that they're not getting today from you? What's your top hit?
Actually, it's different because actually we do interviews with our customers, frankly, with different segments. We surprised each segment, they have different needs. Starting from the youth until we reach the private bank customers. Some of them, they need like a simple tools. They didn't go with the fancy functions. They like these things like a BFM, something to manage it to the tool and the financial things. Sometimes they like to do saving, how we have the kind of programs to save this money. Some of the functions doesn't need to have full technology. Some of it's simple projects to cover the needs. But from our side, we need to have two things. To have to be as a unique bank, or unique, we have unique services in the real bank. We start create an innovation lab. We start testing the functions with the customers before launch it for the public. Actually, some of them prototype. Some of them, and half of that is dropped when we do the interviews with the customers. Unfortunately, the banks previously they do like a products without doing interviews. They feel this is good for the customers. Frankly, you were surprised no one used this product or these services. But now we change our game, actually. We start doing interviews with the customer first. Let's see what they need, actually. Based on that, we start building the products and services. This is our behavior, actually, in the real bank.
From our side, there are mainly two things. P2P payments, because everyone wants to pay the other partner or the other person fast without asking what's your IBAN, what's your bank, let me log in, let me add you as a beneficiary, let me send you money. And that's already available in global. So that's one of the key points in terms of the client needs and we can't do it. Unfortunately, again, regulatory issues. Two is around taking out the non-financial transactions. Opening an account, again, that account cannot be done. And getting into financing products, and that cannot be done. Technology, everything can be done. Regulations can't be done. So these are the two main points in terms of product enrollment and P2P payments are the two key points that everyone's looking at.
I agree with you, actually. I agree with them, actually. Unfortunately, some products, it's too simple, you can't release it, but unfortunately the regulation doesn't allow these things. Starting from where he say, like to request money, for example. It's one of, all the banks actually, they raise it, but unfortunately the central bank, they reject it. Because it requires the second factor authentication and activate with a different channel. It's a complexity for the customer. It's killing the experience for the customer. But rather than to release it to the customers, we're killing the experience, we avoid to release it for them.
And so, when we look at Turkey, what's next for the customer in Turkey? I mean, a number of these things that they talk about, you can already do in Turkey. What's the Is there something missing, or is it just trying to get everyone in Turkey to use their mobile? Because I know you can still use cash in Turkey and cards.
Just what I can say, I don't think it's next, but maybe we should give more importance, and the structure will go that way. That's payments. That's so crucial. And as a payment company in Turkey, we are a subsidiary of Garanti Bank and this kind of payment systems. We see payment as the sixth P of marketing. Like you see on marketing, like we have people, price, promotion, place, and like those 5 Ps that you see on the while we're educated on the university and marketing lessons. The payment is the sixth P, and we believe that's the main P of marketing. All companies, any company in the world that asks for profit needs to make some collection. And any case that they can make that collection on an easy manner from the customers. I mean, the customer also wants to make the payment, and they can make the payment on a secure way, and they can collect on a secure way. That's the contradiction point. It's on the contradiction side, so I can't say. On that case, any point that we can provide more secure or convenient payment products to both the merchant as banks and to the customer as the cardholders, I believe that will bring the success to the companies, because the resources of the customer are so less, both on the time side and both on the amount on the cash side. They're just trying to use that time, their time, more efficient way. And anything that you make that customer to go any place to make payments, even to the post office, to the branch, or even to the retailer store, they can use that time in a more efficient way. just they can spend the time with their kids, they can spend the time with sporting, for example, and anything that they like. But they do not want to make something like transacting on the bank or the branch.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. No one wants to pay.
Yeah.
You just want stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that you aren't willing to pay. That's not what you do. No one ever goes, MasterCard, right? No one goes, today, just how am I going to use my MasterCard? I can't wait to go use it. That's just not something anyone thinks, right? It's these are the things I need to go do. Do you feel, I mean, we're talking about mobile banking, which is actually now the old term. There's no mobile banking really. So do you feel that Turkey, that the banks are actually digital banks now? Or do you think it's still mobile banking, online banking, branch banking, and your traditional bank?
Yes.
Are there pure digital banks?
I can say that we are not pure, but we are we are highly digital bank because we are BBVA, Spanish BBVA bank till the beginning of last year, and digital is on our core globally. And Beirut Bank has been acquired by BBVA just because of that size on the digital side, and because of its innovation and appetite to be innovative. That's why that's important. But with the increasing penetration rate on the mobile devices, and with the penetration rate on increasing broadband usages in Turkey, and able to reach to the high-speed internet and the devices, I believe we will be more or maybe pure digital bank just because the profits coming from there now and the customers are coming from there, and we have almost reached, I'm not counting the regulation, but we have almost reached to most of our services to be served from the digital side. And the customer likes this. That's why customer just votes up for us as the most digital bank of the country.
Okay. I mean, you guys are both in the channels side of banks. If there's anyone here that's in marketing for banks, I'd be stunned if you haven't already press released your digital bank on your launch. There are more digital banks launching that are not part of the channels group, that are completely separate to the channels group, than you can shake a stick at in this region. How does that come together? How does it come together for you as providing that mobile first to your customers versus digital, which means no branches?
No branch. We have just one bank in Saudi that operates into a real digital branch. They're fine with paying off all the fines from the regulators. They're fine. So that's how they do it. Unfortunately, as a big bank myself and Riyadh Bank, that can't be done. We can't have these fines every now and then and work our ways out because it's an image at the end of the day that we can't break. We're moving towards self-servicing, so it's not really digital branch, but you go into a branch, you have these kiosks that you can do a lot. I've seen a couple here in Lebanon as well, where you can go and what car to buy and financing and person financing, bid on the real estate. We can do these things, but the initiation has to happen to our branch, which is opening an account and having all the information ready. But the next product to buy and these things, we're starting, but very, very likely because of, again, regulators. So that's how we're moving forward around digital, a fully digital bank.
Actually, I agree with him, but what you see in our market, you will see that they increase the digital zone, okay, and they minimize the human. But still the human is required in the digital branches. But they increase the digital zone, like they have a printing card, these things. But still, it requires a human. Like for opening an account, as you say, some of transactions require a human involved. This is why it's not possible to have like a pure digital branch in Saudi Arabia.
So if digital identity comes to Saudi, right? That's the branch thing, right? It's the physical. You have to show up and see your face and do those kinds of things. Let's say digital identity comes to Saudi. Could a challenger bank take a regular retail bank out?
Still, it's a regulation.
No. In Saudi, we have around 13 banks. The regulator is, again, thanks to them again, they're not letting the big global banks entering the Saudi market. So that's why we're fighting around a team of 13 people. So they'll make it easy for us, but yet when this door is open, we definitely need to change everything we do. Because when the big guys start coming, this is why we're no longer competing around 12 people that are in the local only, so now we're going globally. So that's so far is one of the reasons I have to say, unfortunately say, that our banking sector is not going to the next step, because nothing's there. So no one's scared, even the fintech, even the big banks. This is not even on our radar at this point of time. But eventually, definitely this will be something to look at.
Okay. I guess we'll open it up to some questions. We've got hands up already.
First of all, thank you. I want to thank you, panel. My question is for Mr. Arda. You mentioned that the new fintech startups are filling a gap that the banks are not doing. Could you elaborate on that? What examples that you see these startups are doing, and why can't bank have this build by decision, whether they acquire eventually these startups or they build it and kill these startups from the beginning if they came up with something so innovative?
What I say, or why I say that is that it's just from my experience. Like in Turkey, when I think of the example for my country, like I'm just talking about fintechs, and I have a lot of friends from there. Any founder of fintech is just there can be from two alternatives. They can be coming from two places. One is bank itself, the employee of bank, and saw a great opportunity because of his know-how and or her know-how that they can do better. And second one is from IT. If they have some friends from bank, and if they can just code, for example, they can just come with a project because they know that there's an inside a gap there or small hole there. And they can come with a technological patch so that everyone can be happy with using that. I'm on the customer side and on the bank side. Because of regulation in Turkey, as banks, we cannot go fast, or we cannot make anything that we want. Maybe we should do it that way, but on some cases, we are asking to legal departments and compliance teams so many questions for that project that fintechs do not need to ask. That makes a difference for us. And from the point of resource allocation, banks are huge when you compare with fintechs, but we have to take care of like more than 300 products. I'm just talking for Garanti Bank, for example. We have more than 300 products that I serve on the retail side, on the commercial side, on the individual side, also on the retail bank side, for example. And I don't have that much of resource to just allocate that much resource to a small hole. I'm just telling that small hole, but it seems small, but when you just enter from that hole, the world can be big. Just because we have huge successful fintech examples in the world. And just because it's not, we cannot think of them, but because of on the priority side, the banks are not prioritizing the projects or maybe not looking on a way that the fintechs are looking. Because if you are a fintech, you have to survive, and with your whole life, what you are doing is to be successful and exit from the company, and you are doing everything to achieve that. And banks doesn't have employees like that to allocate his resources to just one simple project because of structure in the world. As a product manager, you have to be responsible for the product all itself, not for just one thing. But if you're a fintech owner or founder or working in fintech, you have to focus more on everything than other people so that you can exit on time and you just grow the project.
Okay, but usually banks have these M&A teams that, they look around for new technology because if there's a really new innovative technology, we really should consider build or buy something. And it's going into regulations. If the bank has a problem with the regulation, then certainly the startup has a problem with the regulations. I don't think like to say transfer to, it's an international, mobile transfer, money transfer. But so this startup has the same regulation and compliance issues just as this bank. Probably it's easier for the bank to face these regulations. They can lobby for them or so. So I don't see how regulations always, because I see it from the startup point of view and I see it from the banking point of view. Both of them are saying, well, we can't move fast because of the regulation. And I don't know. I see the banks could move easier actually than the startups.
But when I'm saying regulation, I'm just responsible mainly, or I'm just binding myself with banking regulation and credit cards and card payment regulations. But there's no regulation directly tells a fintech in Turkey, especially what they can do or what they cannot do. Because just because of the fact that they're not banks, they are not binded with banking regulation. And while just I'm binded with that regulation, I'm not making something, some service or providing that service. I think they can come and provide that service just because of the gap on the regulation. For example, Uber. Everyone knows Uber, and they work almost operates on most of the countries in the world, and their structures totally different. For example, when you go to Spain as a self-driver, you cannot work with Uber as a driver. You have to work with a company, and that company must enroll with the government. In Turkey, it's totally forbidden to be a driver in Uber. The drivers are driving, they're just taking the risk, and when the police see them, they just fine and they just take the car. And that driver comes again and goes to that business again. Still, we don't have a regulation that tells you can do or you cannot do. But just because of the idea you cannot do, police officers and the officers do not let you do. That's the case. There's a small example, but the most common example from the world.
I think also the build versus buy in a financial services institution isn't M&A. It's do I build it with my own resources or do I contract for someone to do it with me? And the challenge with contracting with fintechs is one, becoming a supplier on the system, taking them through the compliance. Are they PCI? Can they handle the volume that you might be pushing towards you? I mean, one of the, we talked about the example of the fintech that these two gentlemen are partnering with, and they have one. There wasn't a list of 10. Yeah. I say this also from my experience at MasterCard. Trying to partner with fintechs. Actually, it's a lot easier for me to ask the bank to partner with fintech, and then I'll support the bank. Because then I don't have to take it through my whole process. Because if I take it through my whole process, the fintech might be out of business by the time we get done with that. I don't know if you see any.
Just on the question itself. I know PayPal is not a fintech company, but it provides a certain service. For example, doesn't need to be regulated in our country or in the region or anything, because it's not. PayPal today is not regulated in Saudi Arabia. However, I can send the payment to anyone in Saudi Arabia using PayPal. So these guys went over the regulators and everything because they don't have a license to operate in Saudi. So the banks now have a competition of someone that's not even regulated. So this is where the problem starts. So a fintech company doesn't need to be regulated and working in the country, other than the users of that country can start using it. So this is where the problem starts happening.
Mm-hmm. I think, is there one more question? We have one final question.
My question is for what is your strategy in terms of customer-focused transaction and predicting customer behavior and customer journey?
So what's your strategy for customer-focused transactions and being able to work to predict the customer journey?
Well, I can say something.
Okay. So from our side, we start now as a real bank. We start now to have the biometrics. Like I said, we released the first bank having fingerprint in our mobile. We start today, inshallah, we release the first bank having voice biometric. Okay. We start to eliminate the experience. We make it simple and easy for the customer to do the transactions. Okay. So when the customer call or using mobile, it's just only one click, he can perform the transactions. For example, like unpaid bills, maybe predefined beneficiaries. It's a simple click. This is where we're going. Plus, for that, we try to improve the customer experience. Unfortunately, all the banks, they have almost the same functions, but the difference is between them, the customer experience, how we make it easy and simple for the customers. This is from our side, actually, where I'm focusing.
To add more, personalization is the next big thing. Everyone has the same function. Everyone can do the same thing. Whenever you go to the mobile app or the web browser, you're going to see the same functionality, same everything across the banks. Segmentation is important. Personalization is more important because at the end of the day, Now everything has push notifications around it. As long as we don't send scam SMSs, oh, now you can buy, I don't know what, now you can have the credit card, I don't know what, and then when most of the clients go in, oh, you're not eligible for this product. So it's the worst thing that any bank can do, and a lot of banks are doing it today. So personalization is the next thing. So whenever you go to the mobile app, the first thing that comes up is what is predictive for you. For example, you have unpaid bills. So this should be the first thing you ever see when you go into the mobile app so you can pay them. Or due payments. So the system needs to know that on the 27th, you usually pay your driver his salary. So that's the first thing that comes into. So these are the important things that personalization drives into our products and services. And this is what every bank should work on next. And not having state-of-the-art products and services and so forth, because we're way past that.
Okay, just want to thank our panelists, Turki, Omar, and Arda. Thanks so much for sharing your honest opinions. Very important. Hopefully, the regulation and all the challenges will be solved.
I hope none of them are here.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, thank you.